Okay, so I read the whole script out. Okay. I will call this meeting to order. And good evening. My name is Russell Mack. And as the Electoral Area C Director of the Squamish-Lillooet Regional District Board, I will be chairing this electronic public hearing. I would like to introduce Kim Needham, Director of Planning and Development Services, Claire Dewar, Senior Planner, and Lara Plotnikov, Planning and Building Assistant, who will be recording your comments. And we also have Philippe Campbell sitting in just as an observer from the regional district. Thank you. I would like to recognize that collectively we are on the unceded territories of all the First Nations within our regional boundaries. This public hearing is convened pursuant to Section 464 of the Local Government Act to allow the public to make representations to the board respecting matters contained in the proposed bylaw. Squamish-Lillooet Regional District Electoral Area C Zoning Bylaw number 765, 2002, Amendment Bylaw number 1705, 2021. The public hearing is being held electronically, and we welcome and thank those who have joined us via Zoom video and phone. The public hearing is also being recorded and will be uploaded to the SLRD website for public viewing. The public hearing was advertised in the January 20th and 27th issues of the Peak News magazine. Every one of you present who believes that your interest in the property is affected by the proposed bylaw shall be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard or to present written submissions respecting matters contained in the bylaw. None of you will be discouraged or prevented from making your views known. However, it is important that you restrict your remarks to matters contained in the proposed bylaw. I will now provide some brief instructions for those of you participating in this evening's public hearing via Zoom, online video, or phone conferencing. For members of the public wishing to make a submission, please use the raise your hand feature. We will call on each person to speak in turn and your microphone will be unmuted. For those on the phone, the raise hand feature can be accessed by pressing *9. We will use the last 3 digits of your phone number to call on you to speak. For those on a computer, smartphone, or tablet, click the raise hand icon on your screen. Excuse me. We will call you to speak using the name you have used on the screen. Written submissions can be sent in until the end of the hearing by email to cdewar@slrd.bc.ca. When speaking, please address myself as chair and commence your remarks by clearly stating your name and address, our community of residents. Members of the regional board or staff may ask or respond to questions following a presentation. However, the function of the board representatives at this public hearing is to listen rather than to debate the merits of the proposed bylaws. After this public hearing has concluded, the regional board may, without further notice or hearing, adopt or defeat the bylaws, or alter and then adopt the bylaws, provided that the alteration does not alter the use or density. May I remind you that tonight is your opportunity for input on the bylaw, and that after the conclusion of this hearing, no further public comments can be received. To date, we have received 2 written submissions regarding the 9669 Pemberton Portage Road zoning amendment application and the associated bylaw. I will now ask Senior Planner Claire Dewar to introduce the bylaw.
Thank you. So I will provide a brief presentation overview and then we'll turn it back to the chair. So we are here, we are having a public hearing for Electoral Area C, Squamish-Lillooet Regional District Electoral Area C Zoning Bylaw number 765, 2002, Amendment Bylaw 1705-2021. This shows the location and the context. We see here with the hatching the area that is proposed under the zoning amendment, and we're looking to rezone from RR1 to RR2. Further context, we see this property is located in the Birkin to Darcy corridor in Electoral Area C. So in terms of the project description, the bylaw is associated with an application to amend the zoning to facilitate a subdivision of a parcel into 8 residential lots that would see the property rezoned to a new zone, Rural 2 or RR2. This will reduce the minimum parcel size to 1 hectare, and the proposed RR2 zone would permit 1 single family dwelling per parcel. This is an example of the lot configuration or the site plan that's proposed. This will ultimately be determined by Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure through the subdivision process. So if we look to the official community plan, there is policy guidance for site-specific rezoning applications in the Mount Currie to Darcy corridor, and that the minimum parcel size may be reduced to 1 hectare subject to suitability criteria such as soil conditions, slope, geotechnical hazards, and water supply. And we also see that there's clear direction on what those permitted uses should be in these rural residential areas, and that is single family homes, secondary suite, home-based business, home industry, accessory buildings, etc. So if we're looking to see what this RR2 zone is proposing, the permitted uses, we see single family dwelling, as was mentioned, the secondary suite, farm use, home-based business, auxiliary uses, building structures, and horticulture, excluding cannabis production facility. The dwelling size, we are bringing in a maximum gross floor area for the single family dwellings, which is 350 meters squared or up to 430 meters squared if a secondary suite is provided. And this is consistent with sort of the policy across the regional district for bringing in gross floor area maximums. And the minimum parcel area, as mentioned, shall be 1 hectare. We, after first reading, the amendment bylaw was referred out as is the custom, and Vancouver Coastal Health provided comments related to water quality and sewerage servicing, and they recommended water quality testing and as well as sewerage servicing covenants be established. The proponent worked to address both of these items, and Vancouver Coastal Health has confirmed water and servicing matters have been adequately addressed for the zoning amendment stage, noting that restrictive covenants will be required at that subdivision stage with Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure. We also received referral comments from Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure. Generally, they confirmed preliminary approval granted for 1 year. The proponent, as part of the zoning amendment process, submitted various professional reports, including proof of water quality and quantity, sewerage servicing, geotechnical hazard assessment, and riparian assessment. This ties back to that OCP policy regarding suitability criteria. We also look to SOD board policies, one being the community amenity contributions policy, and an amenity contribution of $15,000 per new lot created is recommended. So we would be looking to 7 new residential lots, which there would be a total value of $105,000 going to the community amenity fund. There's also a requirement for park dedication, and the applicant has provided a park dedication of 6,472 meters squared along the eastern boundary of the site, adjacent strata lot 6, so right down here where the red circle is. If we look at the regional impact analysis, the regional growth strategy supports opportunities to provide for rural residential development on 1 hectare lots in the Mount Currie-Darcy corridor within the rural residential land use designation. We also see similar precedents have been set in the area where water quality and quantity criteria have been met, as well as geotechnical and riparian conditions. The Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure, as a subdivision approving authority, will ultimately determine the suitability for subdivision through that process. In terms of next steps, staff will bring amendment bylaw 1705-2021 back to the SUD board for consideration of third reading and adoption, tentatively scheduled for March 2022. Now we will open it up to comments and submissions. Just to reiterate what Director Mack spoke to through the chair script, we have the option to raise your hand for members of the public wishing to make a submission through the online video. Phone conferencing, I don't believe we have anyone joining us on the phone, but that is by pressing the star and 9. And then we are able to receive written submissions up until the end of the hearing by email to cdoer@slrd.bc.ca. Also, when speaking, please address the chair and commence your remarks by clearly stating your name and address of the community of residence. And just to reiterate that after the conclusion of the public hearing, the SUD board cannot receive representations from the public on the proposed bylaw. Thank you.
Okay, submissions from the public. I now call upon any members of the public wishing to make a submission concerning the proposed bylaw. As a reminder, wishing to speak should use raise hand feature by clicking the icon on your screen or dialing star 9 on your phone. You will be called upon by either your name or the last 3 digits of your phone number. Moderator, please can you call upon the first person?
Susie
You're muted.
Gims,
There you go.
Susie Gims, you asked to unmute. I think you should be able to speak.
Can you hear me? There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say I support it since I'm the only member of the public aside from the applicant. As you know, this area has long been home to the workforce for Whistler and Pemberton. And I guess it's no surprise that due to COVID, our rural properties have become far more desirable, and there just is no availability, which really does make it difficult for young families to find a home in our region. So for that reason alone, I think this is a great idea. I'd like to see more opportunity to see more development so that we can see the population's growing now. I think it's exceeded what we initially thought it would be, 5-10 years ago. And I just think, we need to find a place for people to live, and hopefully we can do so in an affordable way. So I support it.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your comments. Moderator, please call upon the next speaker. As a reminder, please use the raise hand feature to indicate that you wish to speak. Is there anybody else?
The only other sort of attendee joining on the Zoom webinar is the proponent. I'm not sure if the proponent would like to say anything. All right, so you should be able to speak, Sebastian.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, first of all, thanks so much for your time. I've been living in the area for 5 years as well. I'm a local. I live just 1 kilometer from the proposed subdivision. I'm a big believer that community is important. The only end for this project is to keep on growing the community in a positive way. and obviously giving people the opportunity to own land and, you know, have, obviously, as Susie mentioned, there's a lack of land right now in the area. I've actually just met with Lisa Hilton today, and she said that they're down 80% from last year as far as availability goes in the area. So that's all I have to say. I share the same ideas as Susie, and I think it's a good community adjacent to Whistler and Pemberton, and a lot of families are looking, you know, for the outdoor space.
Thank you very much. Are there any other speakers waiting?
No, Chair.
No? Okay. Then I am going to call 3 times for further submissions. For the first time, are there any further submissions? Please use the raise hand feature to indicate you would like to speak. Click on the icon. If you are on the computer or smartphone, or dial 9 or pound 9 if you are on the phone. For the second time, are there any further submissions? I will now call again for the third and final time. If there are any further submissions, please use the raise the hand feature. Moderators, is there anyone wishing to speak?
No, Chair. I will note we did receive 1 additional submission just before the public hearing this afternoon. So there were 3 in total written submissions.
Okay, very good. Okay, so we we have received 3 written submissions in total. Okay, fine. So with no further comments then, I will now declare this hearing closed. Thank you, everybody that participated.